love that song. Hello and welcome to this week's Rocksmith developer stream. I am your host and hopefully friend, Doug Lilly. I'm also the community developer here at Rocksmith, here in Ubisoft San Francisco, and I welcome you to today's stream. If you're joining us for the first time, get ready for some music. We're going to look over this past week's DLC. We're going to talk about it. We're going to give away some prizes. We're going to have an interview today. I was able to sit down, or stand up, and talk to some of the guys from Set the Charge. So look forward to that later on in the stream, and some more announcements, tales of what's to come later today. But for now, we're going to take a look at the Social Stars song pack, which was this week's DLC offering. So please enjoy this, and we'll be back with music right after that. Hello and welcome back. I remain here, your host. And maybe friend, did we decide on that? Did we decide that that's true? Doug, hi and welcome. I got a thumbs up. We're all friends. I love it. Today, we are looking at 3 songs in the Social Stars song pack. All 3 songs feature artists who are in some circles known for Twitch, YouTube, in various ways. And we have collected those today, and we're going to play the first song. And to play that song, I'd like to welcome the first set of guests. Hello.
Hello.
Andrew Levin, Amy Batista. How you doing?
Good.
Good. Welcome back. What are you guys playing today?
Ascend. By
Ascend. Yeah, I think the full title is Guitar Solos with
The Do.
The Do, number 2.
Yeah.
Ascend.
Yeah. What's going on, my dues?
What's up?
That's his tagline. I can't take that.
So The Do is a very popular guitarist gamer who makes videos often combining those two activities. He will play guitar in video games. He'll play video games. just mixing it up with those two things, and that's a name that we had heard around the internets as far as if people wanted to play songs from YouTube artists who are releasing content on YouTube. That's one of the names that we heard. So there are lots of people playing guitar on the internet.
No.
This is true. This is true. But the do we received a lot of comments for, and if there are other artists, which we know there are, who you'd like to see, let us know at the official request page, which should be linked any moment now, possibly by 2 or 3 people.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to start off with the do Ascend. Was this any different? Did you note track this one?
Yeah, I did. Yep.
Did you have to approach this any differently than you would any other song pack?
Not really. No. I mean,
It's a song.
Yeah. It's a song. I mean, we don't do a whole ton of songs that are like a 2 or 3 minute guitar solo. Like I would say the vast majority of songs that we do, stick to more of a song form and then have a shorter solo or maybe a longer solo. But so this was basically 99% of the work on this song was on just fleshing out that solo because it's long and it's
so that lead part,
yeah.
And everything else is there to support that lead part.
One thing that I would say that was a bit different though than a lot of other tracks is the audio from this is pulled straight from the YouTube video, which is just a video of him playing the song. So it made it a lot easier to transcribe because we could just look like, oh, hey, he's doing that there.
That's how he's playing that. So that's how we're charting it. Okay.
Yeah. Also, we did have some contact with him as we were doing the song, and I sent him a couple parts that were like, hey, is this correct? And he was like, you're amazing, but no, this isn't. But no, this isn't correct.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at that song. This is Guitar Solos with the Do number 2, Ascend. In the meantime, if you have questions, reach out to UB Jurassic in the chat, and he will get those questions to us, and we'll try to answer some later on in the stream. For now, enjoy. You'll get it.
Yeah, they're fine.
That last part, man.
Not bad.
A lot of that fretboard being used in that
Yeah.
song. That's like,
Yeah, that
there's-
was not an easy one. Yeah, I was definitely sweating.
Yeah. Well, it's very hot in here.
Well, yeah, but I mean mentally.
But okay.
like definitely like lots of like metaphysical
that-
beads of sweat going on in my
a lot of
in my
maths.
head.
You're the math meme.
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Do I?
Internet. I
Not
don't know.
really.
Oh, internet knows
Somebody,
what you're talking.
somebody knows what I'm talking about.
Totally.
It'll show up.
Totally.
All right. So yeah, that is guitar solo as a song, but it maintains the melodic structure of a song.
Yeah.
Is there a name for that type of song?
Other than just like an instrumental guitar rock song, because I want to
Sure.
say like what is it, concerto, but I wouldn't really necessarily call it a concerto.
Like
you
it
know,
would
or
be a
like
concerto if it were in an orchestral setting.
Yeah, although concertos tend to, and most classical songs tend to kind of deviate from the chord progression a bit more than pop,
Okay.
rock pop music. So the chord progression on this song is the same as it repeats. And generally, when I think of a concerto, I think of something that like evolves over like 20 or 30 minutes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
in
I'm
different
not sure.
different chunks.
Maybe an
that are-
etude. This would
Etude.
this is definitely an etude.
Okay.
I would call this an etude, but generally the difference between this and like an etude would be
Yeah.
etudes tend to focus on one technique.
Okay.
You know, like
And this has a couple
yeah,
minimum.
it has
So-
like pretty much every technique.
Yeah, right. It is a grab bag of techniques. So yeah, what all if someone wanted to approach this, what techniques are we looking at?
Oof.
What sort of things? I saw some tapping
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely some tapping. I
Sweep
mean,
picks.
yeah, this
picking.
tapping pattern is extremely difficult to play.
Why is that? As someone who doesn't tap,
Yeah, totally. So the reason it's so hard, the reason I can't play it at speed, I would have to. I would have loved to have spent a couple hours on the metronome seeing if I could play this. I don't know if I could play it if I spent a couple hours, but it'd at least be a little cleaner than I was able to do it.
Sure.
Because what was hard about what he was doing is he wasn't. A lot of times when you're tapping, you're starting with your right hand, so you're doing like, or, you know. Right, but what he was doing
I
was
just
he
got
was actually,
mesmerized for a second. Sorry.
what?
I got a little mesmerized there.
Yeah, but so what he was doing is rather than starting with his tapping hand and using a pull off, he was starting with a technique kind of was popularized by Greg Howe called hammer-ons from nowhere.
Okay.
Where he's actually hammering on with his left hand, and then tapping, then pulling off,
Okay.
and he does it really cleanly. That's about as fast as I could do it without sitting for a couple hours with the metronome.
Which if you're gonna do that sort of tapping at speed is pretty much what you'll need to just play that part until you get the pattern down.
Totally, it's just muscle memory. So like, take that part maybe around however, whatever speed is easiest for you. If it make it easy, but in time. Take that speed, slow it down even more so it's extremely easy, and then go up on the metronome, sit there for 20, 30 minutes, relaxed, bring it up 5-10 beats per minute at a time, and eventually you'll get there. But it's just about patience with that kind of thing and timing. So yeah, that's extremely difficult because he does it really cleanly too. Because I was kind of, it's kind of sloppy, right? But that string skip is hard. So that's that one part. But if you don't want to dwell on just that one part for the song, a few other techniques that you could practice that are really good for knowing the song. You may notice there's a lot of shred sections where he does a lot kind of stuff. So that's really, all of it is just coming from the Aeolian scale.
Okay.
And different variations of the Aeolian scale. The Aeolian scale is just the minor scale for anybody who doesn't know. So that sounds like this. Right? And so if you can kind of work that up to speed. And then, certain exercises you can do with it. I don't want to get too in depth with it because
Sure.
we don't have too much time.
Right,
but,
right.
But one thing that you can practice that's a lot of fun with that is what's called sequencing, and that's what when you hear a lot of those shredder guys who are going up and down the scales really fast, all that.
Where
It's
you go like,
yeah.
kind of like
Mhm.
up, down a little bit, up, down a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. So one sequence that you can practice is up 4, down 3, and it sounds a little bit like this. And you can also do all sorts of variations on that. So you can do up 3, down 2, right? But up 4, down 3 sounds like this. Right. So
So you're taking a couple steps back,
yeah,
and then starting again.
exactly.
Same duration. Okay.
And that's a really effective improvisation tool just in general. I mean, you can take a sequence and then put that anywhere else.
So I had a
Yeah.
question from Biscobin in the chat, which just says, so he, meaning you, needs to talk about how he internalized that, which I think we just did. I think that hopefully that answers your question, Biscobin. Or Biscobin?
Yeah, so when I was really practicing this stuff, I would set aside a certain amount of time per day to practice my scales for a long time, probably at least 30 to 45 minutes per day, just practicing scales. Did that for a while, and that's really how I internalized it. I wish I could tell you there was another way to do it, but that's about it. It's just about the time that you spend working on the scales. If you only practice your scales a few times, you're not going to internalize them. If you practice them over and over again, then they just become like second nature. It's just
repetition,
exactly.
dedication.
Yeah.
Yep.
So one other technique I think would be worth talking about before I get kicked off and is just all of the fretboard sliding.
Yeah.
One of the most difficult things reading in the game, and one of the things that kind of threw me off the most when I was practicing this earlier, is the way that he approaches melodies is really cool in that it's like he does a lot of, there's one lick in particular that's, I think that's it. Or actually he goes, that's it. So it's a lot of melodic playing while sliding to the next note.
Yeah.
So I would recommend just taking that in chunks.
Just getting that specific distance down in your hand.
Yeah.
Does changing a guitar, like if you practiced on a different guitar and then came up here and played it after you would practice those slides, would that possibly give you trouble?
Possibly. Depends.
Like
I mean, it's
minor deviations. In
minor
next scale.
deviations. Yeah, this guitar has a shorter scale. Or I'm actually not sure. I probably am wrong about this. It has a different scale length. I don't know if it's shorter or longer.
It does not.
It's not longer.
Dan just.
Dan. Okay. Yeah.
Dan
So this is a
said
shorter
no.
scale length, Dan, than the
25.5.
PRS.
25.5.
Oh.
Okay, so it's longer than the PRS. So I had to jump farther than I did when I was practicing earlier on the PRS.
Sounded like you got those.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
all right.
He was all right. You did all right. You're doing all right, kid.
I'm sorry. I just want to give you guys one more technique to practice,
yeah.
and then I swear I'll shut up. Octaves. He used this octave technique quite a lot. What is it? That's it. Yeah. Right, and he also does that down here. And one way you can practice this again is once you're familiar with your scales, this isn't going to be super applicable if you don't know any scales. So just learn your basic scales if you don't know this. But once you get your basic scales down and you can hear that, a great way to practice that is just to run it up and down scales. So minor scale. I messed it up.
And that's why you practice.
Basic scales.
There we go. And then you can do your major scale.
Whole half, whole half.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the descriptions on those techniques.
Yeah.
I mean, thank you very much for joining us. And right now, we are going to give away our first Ernie Ball prize pack. So if you are in the chat today live and you want a chance to win one of these Ernie Ball prize packs. We're giving away one right now. We will give away another one later in the stream. Please listen to what UB Jurassic is saying in the chat. UB Jurassic is Brian Turner. He is the Rocksmith community manager in North Carolina. He is running this raffle, and he is helping you win. So if you want to enter, please follow the channel, listen to what he says, and if you do win, this is what you'll get on the screen here. 2 sets of strings, a 4-string set, a 6-string set. Both of those are regular Slinky. You're going to get a dozen Ernie Ball picks, 3 picks from us, which we'll consider a bonus, a bright red Ernie Ball strap for your guitar or bass, a set of Ernie Ball Wonder Wipes, a peg winder from Ernie Ball. All of that can be yours, plus maybe a couple extra things. If you win today's Ernie Ball prize pack. If you win, UB Jurassic will reach out to you via Whisper. He will get from you your full name, your shipping address, and your telephone number. We do need all of that information in order to get your prize to you after today's stream. If you're outside of the U.S., we do ship internationally, but please, for my sake and for yours, split up your address line by line so that I can get the address correct on the package so that it doesn't go to, say, a different country entirely. No one wants that, except, I guess, whoever accidentally would get that package. But, yeah, listen to UB Jurassic in the chat, and he will help you on your path to victory with this Ernie Ball prize pack. Coming up, we've got more music. We do have an interview, if you didn't hear at the very beginning of the chat, or the stream. We do have an interview with Set the Charge. That's going to air at the end of today's stream, near the end. We'll be back after the interview to chat a little bit more. But stay tuned for that interview coming up in a little bit. Right now, we're going to say hello to our next set of guests and play our next song. So hello, next guests, Greg Sully and Dan Emmerich.
Hi.
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 Welcome
Hi.
back.
Hi.
That is I don't think that bass has been.
Ooh.
It may have
Seen.
been on here once. It's not quite as sparkly as it could be because it's covered in dust.
You know what helps with that?
Wonder Wipes by Ernie Ball.
That's right.
Somebody out there could help me clean this bass. Whoever just won.
So yeah, I'll whoever wins. I'll
Please
just grab
send one polish one to me.
whoever wins this one. I'll just take one out of the box.
Yeah.
And you'll get the rest. Just get, no, it's
You'll
fine.
know that
You'll
one
get,
went
you'll
to
get 'em-
polishing
You'll get them
Ricky's
all.
bass.
Don't worry. I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
this is a Daisy Rock Rebel Rocket.
We'll clean it and then I'll put it back in the box.
Oh, that'd be even better. And then you can sign it.
I'm not going to do that.
This was actually one of from my stable, and I
Yeah.
decided to trim the collection down a bit. And
Yeah.
Ricky was like, "Yes."
It's funny how you're able to sell guitars and then still have them around to play.
Isn't
whenever
that
you
isn't
want.
that nice? It's very convenient.
That
I
seems
just
very convenient.
I hadn't played it for a while, and I'm not really as good at this song as I should be. So I was like, this has a very slim neck, and I figured it might make things a little bit easier,
Oh, I
and
thought it
also
was-
just flash.
I thought it was
you know.
just distraction.
No, I mean I'm all for that.
That
though.
too.
I'm not. I haven't practiced it much. I'm not gonna play it very well. But look at this bass.
But
while I
look,
play it.
yeah,
Look,
this,
don't listen.
the bass gets applause where I do not. Hey, can I throw in a joke? Hey, Greg.
Hey, Dan.
Andrew said that the previous song by The Do was an etude, but since it had so many notes in it, does that make it a nine-tude?
Yeah, I guess it does.
Damn, you are a terrible, terrible straight man.
So Set the Charge.
Yes.
Anything but me. Set the Charge. Band from New York, Westchester, New York.
Yay.
I don't know the
Back
area.
to my roots.
Is that where you're from? That area?
Yeah.
You know these guys?
Well, not Westchester.
Oh, okay.
New
I mean,
York.
it's pretty near
Yeah.
New York, I believe. I googled
Yeah,
it
Westchester's not far.
for context. I want to know if you're gigging in Westchester.
Wait, if
how
they're
long
from
does
New
it take?
York,
Yeah.
isn't it Set the Charge?
No, that's Boston. Boston.
No, I'm from New York. It's Set the Charge.
Well, I suppose it could be.
I mean,
yeah.
it was like I was
it's
yesterday.
like set the charge.
Set
Set the charge is what I would do.
Where did the rails go?
Oh, right over there.
Okay, cool.
Way off.
We don't need them. Don't need them. So yeah, Set the Charge. I make these.
I have an
notes.
asterisk.
You do have an asterisk. I mean to check before I ask, not after I ask every week.
Now it's an
song after
asterisk.
song.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm afraid to try to
No.
say that.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna mess it up.
Why does it have an asterisk?
Well, it's because I no-tracked it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
your system. You have
That's
a system for
He's
that.
actually
If
got
I-
a system
I
for
have a
that.
system
I didn't have a system.
that I apparently don't use because then I wouldn't have to ask and then ask and be like, oh yeah, you did. There
As
it
the
is
note
on my-
tracker. No,
as
it's
the
like,
note-
what does the asterisk mean again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had a question there. I don't know. You note tracked this one. You
Sure
know,
did.
You know about the song?
Yeah,
Or
it's a great tune.
yeah.
Like
it's a-
I was very unfamiliar, but the song gets stuck in my head, man. Like when I was actually like leveling it and listening to it a lot, play testing it. I mean, good song.
there's a lot of sort of like I've seen it referred to as being pretty epic. There's a lot of
There's a lot of layers in it
yeah.
that are causing that to happen. Like there's a lot of background vocals that are in there, and just really good job with the production of the song.
yeah.
Because the song itself isn't inherently complex. I mean, what it is when you kind of strip it down, but the way they produced the song actually was done
Fills
really
it.
well.
Yeah. So the arrangement would be pretty complex.
Yeah.
Cool. So what are we looking at with the guitar and bass for this song? Anything to look for as you
the
guys play
lead
through
is
it?
actually very chord oriented, except
Okay.
for the beginning. I mean, it is very much like the rhythm part. But what we did is we put in a few of these little lead gems that are in there, kind
Okay.
of some of these extra layers that get thrown in.
Yeah.
And we put these into the lead part, and the bass part you'll have to ask Dan.
The bass has some repeating licks that go on in different parts in the neck, but it's constantly kind of moving. It was a little more complicated than I expected it to be. It really does drive. As you said, it's not an overcomplicated song structurally, but it's the bass that winds up driving more of
Interesting.
this song than I had expected.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at Set the Charge. This is Everything But Me. Again, if you have questions, reach out to UB Jurassic in the chat.
So you put that nice like organ in the background there.
I'm blaming Ricky's bass. There we go. adequate performance.
Oh,
You know where they
no,
forgot
me.
my shirt.
Yeah, sorry.
No, I have played the bass part a few times, and they're rhythmically very interesting because it keeps sort of being syncopated when I don't expect it to, and then switching back to not being
Yeah.
syncopated when I start to expect it to. So
'Cause
it
if
keeps
you-
throwing me for little loops.
If
all
you just
throughout
play
it.
the root notes, it's not that difficult.
Right.
But if you just play the root notes, you lose a lot of the flavor of the song.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of what I did there. But even goofing up, that was 89%, by the way.
Okay.
Even though that I blew some of those faster sections, but
You just played them your way.
yeah, I played them wrong. I think is
Come
like,
on,
I
Dan.
gave you an out there.
How
I
long?
appreciate
How
that.
long did you push the idea of playing it your way?
Yeah, but right up to the point that I might be disrespecting the artists that are watching.
Okay.
How about that?
Now, if I can, I want to point something out because something funny happened in the middle of the song that
Okay.
actually people should realize how to get out of this problem.
Okay.
Raise your hand. Andrew's probably going to raise his hand. Yeah, my guitar went out of tune when I was doing those dives in the middle,
Oh.
just to flavor it up, just to do
Yeah.
it. Okay, so the question is, how do you combat that when you're in the middle of playing?
Yes. How do you combat
If you pull it the other way, it doesn't necessarily fix it because what'll normally happen is especially if your strings are getting a little old,
Yeah.
they'll stick on the bridge, and when you
Oh.
come back up, it'll pull them
So you
sharp.
pull it and it.
It'll pull them sharp.
Okay.
And so my guitar went sharp, but if that happens, find a break and do this with your strings. Pull
do a
them
little
here,
extra
and
stretching
it
and-
pulls them back to their original positions, and your tuning comes back. So
That's a good tip.
It's really good to know if you're like mid-song on stage and you literally cannot stop playing.
Do a little claw
Just
action.
pull your strings when you have like 3 seconds, and your guitar should go back to normal.
Okay. That's good.
And what does that tell me? It's time to change my strings.
And now we know.
And now we know.
Do you have any? Is this an easy string change for you?
Yeah,
No-
not as easy as
particularly
my other
complicated.
PRS guitars. I actually have found the locking tuners that go on a lot of guitars now that are somewhat becoming standard.
Yeah.
Man, they're a time saver.
They are,
really,
yeah.
yeah. So
Agreed.
Dan's shaking his head, so he knows.
I'm about to install a set on a guitar that I'm building.
There
It
you
doesn't.
go.
It's got a hardtail on it, and I'm putting locking tuners on it. I don't care. I don't care.
Now,
Do it just to do it.
now, why is that funny?
Oh, that's funny because a hardtail guitar does not have a moving tremolo the way that yours does. So,
So why would you need?
I don't need, but I bought them like 10 years ago for a project, and finally that project is happening. So I'm just like, well, okay, what are the best tuners that I have in my closet? They're going on the guitar that I really want to do the best. I don't use the trem anyway. Even on the guitars that have trems,
Yeah.
I generally put all the springs on the back of a Fender style thing and just
Me too.
we deck it. That's what
like-
it's called.
yeah.
It's and then you can actually put a block of wood in between the
Blocking the
tremolo block and the body to try to increase sustain. I've never bothered. I just deck it just so that like you can dive bomb at that point, but you can't pull it up.
Did Brian Pody block the trim on his encore stream?
I don't know. It's right there.
We'll probably find out. It might happen. No,
No?
somebody's shaking their head.
He didn't block it. He left
Okay.
it floating.
Okay.
Because he's a good tech. I also don't know how to set it up correctly.
Sure.
It's a lot of fiddling to get it to float correctly, that floating
fair.
tremolo. And I'm
That's
like, never mind.
All right, so right now we are going to take another quick break. I want to thank both of you once again for coming on and playing the Set to
Sure
Charge.
thing.
Right now, yeah, we're going to watch a video. This is a video of an artist who you will hear some more from very soon. When Audrey Sheeta came down and played live at Slim's here in San Francisco. While that video is happening, we're going to give away 5 copies of this week's Social Stars DLC for Steam. So once more, please listen to UB Jurassic in the chat. He will help guide you to success with getting a free copy, if you're lucky, of one of 5 of these DLC packs. So we'll be back in just a few minutes with more music from the Social Stars song pack.
My name is Audrey Shida. I live in Nagasaki, Japan. Where I live is a countryside, so there aren't that many stores, but I like how I can play guitar and kick and shout as loud as she wants. One day my dad bought me a guitar because he wanted to learn electric guitar with Rocksmith. He tried it out and he thought that it would be cool for me The very first song that I was kind of good at was Boys Don't Cry. I'm gonna be on the stage for the first time, so I'm a little nervous about maybe making mistakes and stuff, but even if I do, I just want to have fun playing guitar.
Making her North American stage debut, please welcome Audrey Shida.
I want to be the best guitarist in the world, not just for me, for the audience and for the fans. Until I go all the way to there, I think I won't stop playing guitar or Rocksmith.
Ladies and gentlemen, Audrey Shida. Remember the name.
And welcome back to this week's Rocksmith Developer Stream. I remain your host, Doug Lilly, and the community developer for Rocksmith. Today we are looking at 3 songs in the Social Star Song Pack. Coming up next, we have a song that isn't in that pack, as is usual at this point in the stream every week, almost. Coming up, we've got a song that was created. Well, we'll go ahead and let me introduce our guest, and then we'll talk more about what's coming and why we decided to use it this week. So hello, Francois.
Hello, Doug.
How's it going?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. And beside you, we have Akshay.
Hello.
Krishnan.
Hi.
Hello.
I like that you're always surprised. By
I
people.
am always
you
surprised.
like turned to like, whoa,
Whoa!
there's
Oh,
people
hey!
here. Hi.
Where did you come from? That's I'm easily startled.
Oh,
I'm fine. It's fine.
it's fine.
So you two
Yeah.
are playing. You were playing a Crimson song.
Yes.
That "Don't Stop" is the name of the song. So this is an on-disc unlockable track from Rocksmith 2014. So if you have Rocksmith 2014, you technically own this song, even if you can't yet access it. If you can't yet access it, that just means you need to play more.
Play more Rocksmith.
Play more
Yes.
Rocksmith.
Yeah.
And it'll come to you.
I got
So
exposed
You got
because I didn't have access to this song.
Yeah.
Fraud.
Well, how many hours do you have on Rocksmith
Not enough,
so far?
apparently. Jeez.
Oh, yeah.
I did not count.
So in this band
Yeah.
is Lisa
Rock.
Rock Duck.
Oh.
Okay.
So you didn't know
Okay.
that either. You
I didn't know
why anything
I didn't
about
know
why
nothing.
we're using
I'm,
the song.
uh,
So yeah,
exposed again.
Lisa Rock Duck, who streams, she has a preview stream on Mondays, almost every Monday, where she looks at the DLC a little bit before most people have a chance, and she streams that out at Elisa Rock Duck. It'll probably be in the chat. If she's here in the chat, hello. But she sings in this band, so
Glad,
she streams Rocksmith, and I figured that was a good reason to have her in the Social Stars pack.
Sure. Yeah.
Works for me.
As good as any.
Yeah, we have. I don't think I've seen the song played on stream.
Really? This whole time?
Not that I
Not that you've seen.
have seen,
Yeah.
but I did moderate the stream for a little while back in North Carolina. So if it has been on the stream, it's been years.
Right.
Or
this is
I'm
fun.
just forgetful. I don't know.
This is a fun song. I don't know.
Oh, wait,
I like it.
wasn't she and her husband on the stream as guest?
Yes.
And did they,
Well,
that was when they,
Oh.
I know that
or
she
did they
played.
play something else?
Or was it Backstage Pass? Was I here when she played it? I'll have to recheck.
No, Dan was
Lisa-
the one. Dan was sitting behind the podium at the
Right,
time.
right, right. Well,
Yes.
no, there was the Backstage Pass event a couple years ago.
Okay.
And she was here for that. I do not recall what she played when she visited.
You made
It
her
may
not-
have been this.
Did you make her not play her own song?
Well, I played on that stream as well, so I was
Okay.
in a different room while she was playing. She played Paramore.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Well,
Well,
there we
you
go. Did she play back behind the camera? Did she perform this song on stream at some point? On our stream? Not on our stream?
not
Okay.
on ours.
Somebody in the chat probably knows.
Stream historians,
She
speak
played
up.
it.
Now's your
Divine
time.
says she played it herself on stream. So
Oh.
who am I to argue?
Well, hey,
What do I
there
know?
it is.
What do you think?
Stream.
So yeah,
Alright.
let's go ahead and take a look at Don't Stop.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little about it right after that. And if you have questions, let You Be Jurassic in the chat know.
Our hands are tied, but we wanted more for ourselves. I wanted you, you wanted someone else, always someone else. But that made it okay. That made it okay. Don't touch just like a good girl should. Don't ask until you really got it good. But things have changed. The schedule's free. Your friend, she's coming home. She's coming home. Say if you wanna be there. Who am I? Say if you wanna be there. Don't look at me that way. You know what you do to me. You don't know what you do to me. My eyes will always drift to center. But my heart that melts in my body. Throwing caution to the wind with a kiss. Please tell me, are you faking? There's no mistaking who I'm taking to my bed with me tonight. 'Cause I wanna be there with them all the way. Oh, I wanna be there. At least I never strayed. You don't know what you do to me. You don't know what you do to me. Until if you do, don't stop. Please don't change, 'cause things won't be the same if you find out who I was inside. I still wanna feel that every time we touch. I wanna be there. I need you so much. You don't know what you do to me. You don't know what you do to me. Don't stop.
Nice.
I love that bass tone.
It's so good.
So
Oh, man.
I talked with Lisa a little bit
Yeah.
over the past few days, and she had some information about this song
Ooh.
that she said I could share. So that bass part was apparently mostly played on a keytar and very rarely on a bass guitar.
I've always wanted to play
So-
a
so-
guitar.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well, you just played a keytar part.
Cool.
So that's fun. Now she said, "When Crimson." So in Crimson is also Evan, Elisa's husband. She says the way they typically write songs is she will come up with the lyrics and melody first, and then he will translate that into chords. So he'll write the chords around the melody.
Interesting.
And then they will introduce the chords and the melody to the rest of the band who sort of flesh out the piece.
Cool.
Also, they are currently working with 3 or 4 songs and a reworked cover for an EP that's coming out soon, and they will be at TwitchCon very soon.
Oh, we got scoops.
Yeah, we got scoops.
got the
scoops
hot
on
news.
Scoops on scoops.
Wow.
So I got 3 Scoop Sunday here. 4 scoop. I had 4 pieces of information.
On
They
the
were
live
numbered.
stream.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you.
I wonder. Well,
yeah.
so I wonder how they do slides
Bring it.
then. Like for there's like a couple of sliding parts in there.
See,
and
I'm
it's
not
like-
sure if it was
how does a
mostly
guitar-
performed on Keytar or if it was originally recorded on Keytar. That I'm
okay.
not totally sure about.
Yeah.
But if it was on a Keytar, there's usually a lot of keyboards,
Mhm.
and I imagine Keytars there will be a knob or switch that will let you
To like
change
tune up a
the-
little bit.
yeah.
Bend up and down, right?
bend up and
Yeah.
down or add
Yeah,
vibrato.
pitch shifter.
Pitch shifter.
Sure.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool. And then like
Also a band.
technique wise, this was like fun, like just fun to play.
When
And,
I-
like there's that part where it's like 4/4/4 and you do like a bunch of octave stuff.
Yeah.
That took a while to figure out actually. And it was good practice.
There's one part I know running up and down. I think on the D string,
Mhm.
the blue string, where you have to use your pinky to drop down to the E string. That was tricky.
Yes.
And that was one part where I was like, if this was on a keytar, I feel like that might
Be a
make
little bit easier.
yeah, that might make more sense.
Yeah.
Just physically that someone would do that. It's an interesting part. It's
The
a
main
fun
lick
part.
is it's just like really fun, really catchy. Yeah.
And what do we have on the lead part?
On the lead
Cool
part,
solo.
lots
Yeah.
of fun slides like at the beginning of the song, followed by lots of band,
Mhm.
and also again lots of octaves.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really? Okay, that whole part, eh? Okay.
Yeah, and Evan, the guitar player is no joke.
Okay.
He's not like he's.
I don't know why I laughed at that. You said it was no
yeah,
joke.
he's not.
That was
I said
you.
not a joke.
What did you just say?
What did I just say? Actually, I don't like chastising people on stream, but sometimes you bring it out of me, and I can't. No, I'm
Can't,
kidding.
you
I'm
know?
kidding.
It happens.
Also, don't put heavier strings right before you go on the stream.
Oh. Pro
What-
tip.
yeah. Yeah. Will they go out of tune? Or they just be
no,
they
it's
not be
it's
elastic enough?
Not as a well. I had 9s on this guitar as of until Monday.
Okay.
And I put 10s on this, and it's a little bit harder to
Just not used to it, eh?
to
You're
bend.
Just like yeah,
So
makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just
Cool.
need to add some elasticity to it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you both for playing
Yeah.
Crimson. Right now we are we're gonna take a short break, and usually right now would be in case you missed it, but we'll say this time in case you missed them on social media. So this is the Social Stars song pack, and if you want to check out the work of any of the artists, the 3 artists that we have in this week's song pack, now is your chance to take some notes. So you can follow these artists on their primary pages. The Do is mostly known, as far as I know, for his YouTube page, which is Mountain Dew YT. So if you just look up The Do with 3 O's, one word, 3 O's, you'll find him there. He also streams on Twitch occasionally. I do not know his schedule, but that you can probably find that by checking out the link there. That's twitch.tv/thedo with 3 O's and an underscore. And he's on Twitter, _do. Set the Charge has a few music videos on YouTube, so just you can go to Set the Charge there, or their Twitter is Set the Charge at Set the Charge. Very easy to find. It's Set the Charge pretty much anywhere you would want to look. Also, if you want to see Audrey and Kate, you can find those two at Audrey123 Talks on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Audrey and Kate play a lot on YouTube. Not quite as much on Twitch, I believe, but they're there pretty often, and their Twitter will help you find wherever they are, whenever you want to see them. And while we're talking about streamers and YouTubers, I believe BBQ Kyle is still in the chat, maybe. So check out BBQ Kyle's stream here on Twitch at BBQ Kyle. as in barbecue. He streams almost every weekday, as far as I know, pretty regularly. Usually, for me, I think I see him streaming around 11 a.m. my time. I may have that wrong. I get the notifications, but I lose track of time very, very easily. But BB, he'll probably say, if he's in the chat, yeah, he'll just tell you when he's going to stream. He's here right now. Hi, BBQ Kyle. So yeah, please let us know when you might be playing, and if you want to drop your Twitter handle in here so that people can follow you there and get the notifications when you do start streaming, that would be wonderful. Right now, we are going to interrupt a little bit of tuning and say hello to our final guests of the day. Rye Kin.
What you up to,
What'd
Rye?
you do, Rye?
Tuning guitar.
You tuned a guitar there.
I couldn't find a guitar that's a standard tuning in this. All the beautiful guitars in this room.
Somebody's still learning how to use the Rocksmith tuner.
Oh, it's fine.
I think
he
it's
knows
not
how to use it.
registering.
Right,
Because we're so far off the mark. It's like that's not even a guitar.
what
Now
even is
we're in the
this now?
ballpark.
Are we in mandolin tuning? What is mandolin tuned to, Anthony Martinez?
I don't know. Let's ask Rye.
Hey, Rye,
It's
what's
tuned in fifths,
tuned in fifths
such as a
Instead of-
violin. I think I got that right.
instead of fourths, like a guitar, mostly.
Okay, wake up,
Nobody's confirming or denying what I'm saying, so I have no idea if I'm right. It's mostly fourths.
Why is it
just
saying?
nobody. Why
oh,
are
there
you
we
not?
go.
Why are you not talking to me, Anthony Martinez?
This is
because we're
funny.
just
I'm
watching the tuning.
Yeah. How are you doing, Doug?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well.
Ready to
today.
rock.
Excellent. This is a fun release. It's a fun pack.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you two are going to play No Reason by
Absolutely.
Audrey and Kate.
Uh-huh.
Close friends to Rocksmith. If you see this, hello Audrey, hello Kate, and hello Masa. Who note tracked this?
So
I transcribed it.
a few of us had a hand in making this, actually. So Rye transcribed it. I co-leveled it with Sam Schwartz.
Okay.
Yeah, and we play tested it a bunch and just actually collaborated with Audrey and Kate. They made a video for us to reference as we worked on it because we wanted to ensure authenticity, make sure that we were tabbing things in the correct positions, and authoring the correct techniques.
They don't have a live video footage of that particular song yet.
We will soon, I'm sure. if it's not available now, I'm sure it will be very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Genre-wise, where would you place this?
Power pop? I don't know.
Ooh,
like
that's tough.
Like
I-
some power pop punk with some shred.
Yeah,
the end of it?
I think you nailed it. Power pop punk with a shred solo, because no power pop punk songs have shred solos, so that breaks it out of that.
Yeah,
And some death metal vocals.
Oh,
on occasion.
yeah,
yeah.
of
course.
Yeah, it's
Right, how
really
can we-
it's hard to put it in a box, but
Yeah.
I'd be curious to know what.
Don't fence it in, man. I don't know. I'm trying to label things and make them whatever. Just feel it.
That's the one
Enjoy it.
thing I had meant to ask Audrey and Kate about.
Yeah.
Like how they would classify this.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
I might try to find that out myself, and I will let you know, and everybody else know at home. It won't be today.
What if she's like, hey, it's just a song.
She
Why are
might
you
be-
trying to throw me in a box,
Yeah,
man?
why are you I'll be like, no reason.
I just write what I
Oh,
feel.
there it
Oh,
is.
there it is.
Dang.
Titular, where do I get that? All right, so let's go ahead and get into No Reason by Audrey and Kate. And, stay tuned for an interview with Set the Charge very shortly after this.
Testing. Okay.
What to do?
Oh, man, you're blowing me off. That was a creepy look.
I think he's legitimately terrified right now.
Got two weirdos staring at
It sounded good to me.
It's a nice harmony.
Sorry for butchering that solo, Audrey.
Bass solo. So people probably saw during the mid video that we played. So Audrey started playing Rocksmith at age 8. And she's now, I believe, 15, 16, around there. And her sister Kate picked up bass when she was also around that age. And they have visited the studio a couple times. I've missed it every time. I haven't. I was when I was in North Carolina, but she did leave the Audrey and Kate signature pull noodle, which used to be Kate's instrument of choice. She would sing into the pull noodle, and then they were like, "We'll just take this and put a bass guitar in your hands." And she said, "Okay," and then started playing bass exceptionally well very quickly. So thank you, Audrey and Kate, for letting us use your song. Yeah, and thank you too for coming and playing.
Course, yeah.
My pleasure.
And Lao Wangsa, thanks for reminding me that the pull noodle was behind my head the whole time. So yeah, they've been in the studio a couple times. They have been on stream a couple of times. Please check those out. You can find all of those in our video on demand section here on Twitch or on YouTube. Those videos would all be on the Ubisoft Studio SF YouTube page, whereas most of our current VODs are going straight to the Rocksmith game YouTube page. So those are on the older site. But yeah, check those out. Let us know. And yeah, thank you guys for playing.
Yeah, of course. Thank
Right
you.
now, let's see. I think we are going to do our final giveaway.
Oh, nice.
But then we have an interview with Set the Charge, who I got to talk to on Monday or Tuesday. So right now, if you want to win the final Ernie Ball prize pack of the day, please listen once more to what UB Jurassic is telling you in chat. He will guide you on the path to winning this prize pack, which includes 2 sets of strings, both regular Slinky strings, 1 for your guitar, 1 for bass. You're going to get a dozen picks for Ernie Ball, 3 Spectrum Plectrum, named by Jean308, mostly. I think there was some help there. I always forget, and I never. Well, I think I've only forgotten the one time, but I've never been corrected. So it's not that I keep forgetting. I just forgot once, and I haven't been corrected since then, if I'm wrong. Anyway, 3 of those picks. You're going to get a red Ernie Ball guitar strap. You're going to get a package of Ernie Ball Wonder Wipes and an Ernie Ball peg winder if you win. So make sure, once more, you were listening to UB Jurassic in the chat. He will whisper you if you win and get your name, your shipping address, and your telephone number. And we do need all of that information. So now, let's go ahead and take a look, if we're able, at the interview that we had with Set the Charge. And I'll be back after that with a little bit more news, like always. And we will see you very soon. Hello, I am here with Set the Charge. Welcome, guys.
Hey, how you going?
Doing well. So you're coming at us from New York State, right? You're in Westchester, is it?
Westchester, New York.
Westchester, New York. Hello from us here at Rocksmith. Hello to you at Set the Charge in New York. Everybody, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves to our viewers?
You start this time, Derek. I'll go. My name's Derek. I play bass and Set the Charge. I'm Anthony, vocalist. I'm Frank, and I play drums.
Great. And one more time for the cat, because our chat will ask the cat's name.
Pyretta Blaze.
Pyretta Blade?
Pyretta Blaze. She was named after a Typo Negative song.
Oh, okay. There we go. Definitely have some Typo fans in our audience. Speaking of fandom in general, listening to your music, it definitely sounds like you are students of music, of rock music. You can see a pretty wide array of inspirations stylistically. How important is it to you to keep your ears open and to sort of spread beyond what you might normally consider your genre of choice?
It's very important because the more influences you have, the more interesting of a sound you're going to make, especially if you're looking to just not stay in the constraints of what is popular in one set genre, whatever the trends are. You know, the only way you're going to do anything interesting is if you just step out of the box and do other things that maybe aren't even necessarily rock, but you mix that with rock and it makes an interesting twist to rock music. That's why we're into, our influences range from everything from old, 50s crooning music to Massive Attack. Yeah. Electronic industrial to progressive rock to theatrical rock. I mean, it's all mixed up.
We were actually just having a conversation last week. We were talking about one of these other songs that we had written, and I kind of laid down the groundwork of it, but it was based on Pesh Mode, Eurythmics, and Blue Man Group, and we came up and I laid this groundwork, and that's what we all wound up going with, and it was like, that's a weird one.
That's a good mix. So when you do incorporate something maybe outside of the norm, is that an intentional decision? Is that something that you think about, like, I want to have something sort of Depeche Mode-y in here, or is that something that happens organically just because you've listened to so much?
You just end up playing up with you end up playing synth patches, and you're like, oh, I like this synth patch right now. I'm going to use this, and then it ends up sounding like that,
And
know?
just
I was
takes
like,
off.
oh, that kind of sounds like this. And then, hey, let's go a little more in that direction, whatever.
So you have like a small piece of something, and you're able to say, well, I think this could work in this song that we're developing, and just sort of see how they play together.
Yeah.
I guess it all also has something to do with what you're listening to at the time.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of the summer, you could be on a whole other kick than what you're going to be on in mid-September. So it's just you sometimes end up writing seasonally.
Yeah.
It's very organic. I mean, and we very often try, and we've done this before. Let's try to write a song that sounds like this, and then we don't. But then it winds up sounding like something else. But that process is what's happening organically. When we actually try to set our minds to go in a direction, we fail in that sense and want to do something cooler in a different direction.
Yeah, just fail in a cool way, fail in a fun way.
Yeah.
That's good. With your scenes, so how many of you were creating music before the internet, sort of as we know it, as the internet as the place to host music, or are we all sort of in a post-internet age frame?
No.
All late. It was. Yeah.
I mean, technically the internet was available to us in the mid to late 90s.
We're talking Napster days.
You're talking like this, like you're talking post Facebook.
I'm talking,
like,
mostly, like, I guess MySpace probably would have been the first big place where a band would enter social media and sort of run or have run that.
We were making music when we still had GeoCities.
Okay. Okay. Well, so this pack, the pack that you are a part of, the Social Stars pack, it has a focus on bands, very very new, very contemporary artists. Actually, you're the only band in the pack, per se. But everybody in the pack sort of has existed kind of along with the internet age. How has that shifted? Probably since you were playing before, say, MySpace. How you've approached collaboration or just self-promotion on the internet? How has that shifted from before social media was what it is now to after?
Well, I mean, I have a channel that has a large following, and I've picked up tricks along the way. Not really tricks, it's just in my experience. It's and that's kind of what, I mean, that's influenced a lot of what I do in writing original music and promoting. I mean, using pretty much all the tools on the internet to get the word out of the band in interesting ways. I mean, look, when we did the album, our last album, our full length that we released in 2017, one of the things that I did on my channel to my audience was take the song actually that's being featured in this video game and performed it in 16 styles and had people guess what the styles were, and because they were our biggest influences, we put it out there, and that was a way to promote the song, the album, and stuff like that. So that's one way that I've done it. But you see, in this whole new age, I mean, there are so many different ways that you can promote things just on the internet. But I do think that the best thing to do is find a way to kind of come up with a mix of, promoting it on the internet and the old way, kind of like a hybrid.
So
old we got a style fast though. We used to be on campus of either colleges or high schools with flyers for shows we were putting together back around 2002, 3, around there. And then, but you still had the internet, so you post things on whatever, and you try to get people branded to whatever your band is doing. But once Web 2.0 really started coming around, and you had the MySpace, you had everything else, it's becoming a lot more. And less and less people go out for gigs too. So it's important for us to, at this point, to figure out how to be strategic with making public performances and all that stuff, but also trying to get at people in live streaming settings and stuff like that too.
So if somebody was starting a band now and they got enough, they were comfortable enough that they wanted to start playing out and showcasing things, how would you recommend they go about promoting those first people? Once they've developed a small scene, is there any What's that?
It's a question that has millions of answers right now.
I'll say for me, the first thing is you get to your first gig, whatever, if it's just a suitcase in the middle of the day on a Sunday, just start out by making friends with every band on the bill. You gotta build friends in the circuit. You gotta start playing with other bands. You gotta combine your audiences. You've gotta just make friends. You have to make a lot of friends. That's number one. So as far as your physical existence goes, from the very first gig you have, make friends with everybody on the bill.
Also, focused on getting really, really good, so that you do have a chance of actually getting people to see you just because they're just impressed that you're better than everybody else, or not better than everyone else, but like an above average band because you put the work into it.
Right.
You know? That's also something that if you're starting out locally. Another way to get people to come out is you have to give them something that they're going to want to see.
Right.
You know?
We're talking about
sound, whether it's the audience or club promoters or club owners or even down to the sound guy, everyone's going to notice, like, oh, this is a band that, just everyone's here. Even if they just did that little bit, they're going to notice that.
Like you put a little extra into your stage show. You're just that pinch more charismatic. I mean, you're just that pinch more tighter. And people will notice that, and they'll want to come out again.
And just don't be a jerk at a gig. That's
right.
about it.
Just be a little bit nicer to the sound person than other bands.
Always. Yes.
So how would you say the sort of modern age of the internet has impacted your local scene? Because that's something I think that doesn't get talked about a lot. Because there used to be a lot of
our local scene died a very, very agonizing death. Actually, it's not here anymore. That's why we have to go down to the city. And there's a couple of spots around us that are strategic and nicely managed.
But even in the city, there's no guarantee those venues are gonna be there, because we've played plenty of venues that closed down. I don't know what it is. I'm not sure the statistics, or I can't read off, actual facts as to why that's happening. But I mean, maybe it's something to do with the fact that people really do. We're in a Netflix age where people just want to stay home.
Just the easy access to media.
Right. It's maybe a mix of that, and we're stuck in a cycle where there's just a lot of underwhelming bands out there, that aren't putting in the extra work. And I'm not singling anybody out. I don't know. Bands that I've seen, some friends that we have in the local scene, there's some really good bands over here. There's definitely talent out there. We've got friends who are talented as hell, other bands. It's just, as a whole, I'm not sure.
Gotcha.
The whole answer to that question.
And how have you run across any sort of pitfalls in navigating this modern landscape with promotion, with distribution? Because you're totally independent, correct?
Correct.
So you're wearing all the hats. Like who's sort of managing your internet presence right now, or are each of you helping out?
I've split it up a bit. Everybody's, we all either do our own podcasts, or we manage our own personal or public pages and stuff like that, and we try to just patchwork it together the best we can, and still haven't really figured out how to get people out of internet land and into venues based on promotion on the internet. But as far as getting people to listen to singles and albums, we've had that's with that, at least.
Basically, we do our own distribution through DistroKid. I use DistroKid even with me. This is not a sponsor. But I use them because it's very easy to use, and you get out to all these streaming sites and stuff. And that's something, not them. It's do it themselves.
Sorry,
Now, when
you
we-
cut out.
we
You cut out for just a moment. I don't want to miss any of this. Could you repeat the last sentence, please?
I don't remember what I said.
You're using DistroKid.
A lot of people use these, whether it's DistroKid or something else, just just to get their songs on streaming sites and all that. You don't need a label to do that. I don't know if that was like the thing that labels said that they could do, but you don't need that. The big thing is physical distribution. That when we did it, the one time we did it, Derek took care of that, because that's some tough. That kind of thing. If you don't have somebody who knows what they're doing with that, can get sticky. That's where distribution deals come in handy with labels and that and tour support and stuff. But you don't really. I don't think you need it that much, because CD sales aren't. They're like, they have to be close to nothing now. I mean, actually, I saw an article where vinyl has outsold CDs this past year.
Yeah, I think it's the first time in something like 20, 30 years.
Right,
Yeah.
because it's something like, it's like a cool thing. Yeah,
Novelty.
yeah, it's a nice.
I mean, we did the album. We still had to do. We didn't have to, but we did discuss among ourselves. Was doing any physical pressing even worth it? And we went back and forth between yes and no, no and yes, and we just kind of met in the middle. We just did a smaller batch, because there's some people who like the physical CD. Also, in terms of networking or promoting, it's also like your business card.
Right.
Right. So, in the end, you're going to go home, put it in your CD, in your computer or whatever, rip it, and then that's it. But it's still like, I remember these guys. Either whether because they're good or they suck, you still have our business card.
Right. Just much like in most vinyl that comes out today, that will come with a digital code inside. So you have your record, but you can still listen to it on your phone or what have you.
Even downloads are becoming obsolete.
Right.
Yeah, because everything's streamable.
Right. Yeah, everything's streaming.
So with this, if vinyl is sort of indicating a return to physicality or a return to something tangible, what sort of move would be on the horizon to take advantage of that rise in popularity of physical media, or just gigs even?
Oh, I would say you have to corner the 8-track market.
that might be. I mean, cassettes came back too. People are buying cassettes again. So 8-tracks might be next. Now you have an EP and an LP. Your EP came out in 2015. That was Auditory Insemination. Your LP came out in 2017. Sky Goes On. Which of those was the one that came out on a physical? Which one did you produce a physical CD for?
Sky Goes On.
I like to consider Sky Goes On like our first release.
Okay.
Just kind of we were finding things.
We were only together for about a year at that point in
Right.
the one, and but Sky Goes On was the first album that we really created a lot of the songs together, and it was more of a collaborative work. And now this year we've been committing to releasing singles every couple of months
with videos.
That's what.
And
right.
Do you think for your band is a sort of single to YouTube, single to digital, is that a better system for you? Is that working better instead of the album format?
I think
get out faster.
Yeah.
And you don't hang on to them, because if you're working on an album and sometimes you're holding on to a song that's been old for 2 years.
Right. I saw a little bit of hesitation.
You put out a song and you work on it for a couple of months. You put it out, you polish it up, and if you're able to do that every 2.5 months, everybody gets a new song and a lyric video or something with a concept in it. Then you're automatically keeping all of your social media channels open with new content. And at the end of the calendar year, you really do have a 5 to 6 song EP that you're sitting on top of. So it's the same thing, but it's more so like how are you going to get people to get away from that Netflix binge mentality?
Right.
You just put out an episode every couple of months.
Well,
so far, I mean, I don't know. It feels like for us that kind of concept and format's been working, because it's just like finish the song, polish it, out. roll. Let's just keep rolling with it. And plus, doing a full length album just seems so daunting and tedious, and there's so much overhead that has to go into it. And
basically, unless you're Tool and you have a large audience and years of buildup of hype of people who really are going to buy that album, it's better off. I would always suggest, like a band that's just starting out, don't even worry about copies. Just get
it out there.
Do some if you want to do any grouping of songs to a 3-song EP.
Demos.
And that's I'm streaming. Just stream.
Right, just get it out
there. Okay.
You put it on with a cool video, at this anything that's entertaining, and then just have it available for streaming.
That sounds like great advice. Thank you. And I think we're about done here. I want to thank you all for joining us. Where can we find your music, and where can we find you on the internet?
You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/SetTheCharge. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and on Spotify.
Hey, Set the Charge everywhere.
So just Google Set the Charge.
Spotify, Apple Music, you'll be able to hear it. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I guess search engine optimization has made that question a little bit obsolete. I'm good. Which I'm learning now.
Unlike Tool, we are in fact have been on streaming for a while.
Right. Okay. Anything else you want to plug today?
Got a new single that we're going to be uploading soon. We just put out one about a month and a half ago called "I'm Like You." New single "Vapor." It's called "Vapor." That'll be coming out soon. I think within the next week or two, whatever we decide. And then after that, we got a whole bunch of new stuff that we can't wait to slap together and drip feed out like a morphine drip. It's going to be great.
Sounds good.
And some delivery options that we haven't done before, and we're going to unveil to the world.
Interesting. All right. Actually, I did have one more question I wanted to ask you. Speaking about live shows, there might be a lot of people watching this who have never been to a live show, at least not like a live show at a club or a smaller venue. What's the sort of magic of a live show that you don't get from streaming a song or watching a video?
We have one chance to make an impression, and usually that puts you in a spot to say, screw this, I got to get this right now. Like your passion kicks in. And that's why, that's why sometimes you'll hear an album that is dull, like the energy isn't as high as when you see someone live, because live they're kicked into gear and they're like, oh, I have to do it right. And an album, this has got 50 takes.
Right.
Yeah. And as far as being a patron, someone who shows up at the venue to watch the show, I don't know. There's something about the volume. There's something about the bass and the drums that get you in the throat, and crowd interact. I don't know. You feel like you're a little bit more in a. It's not that secluded of a feeling whenever you're driving around in your car by yourself. All of a sudden, you're there in a social setting. Socializing is very healthy.
Yeah, that's another thing. You're going out.
Yeah.
Lifeless body out onto a nice dingy sunny club. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah. If your feet have never stuck to the floor of a bar.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But to equate it, it's also like going to the gonna go see a live show and going to the movies to go see whatever's latest. You're going disconnect reality from your day-to-day time and sit here for an hour and a half or 2 hours or whatever, or for a set, whatever the case, and be in that moment. A Broadway show, you're just in the moment, and that's something you lose when you're listening to something on streaming or CD, because it's dinner time, pause, and then you can go away, and there's distraction.
And not only that, but you also can come away with unexpected great stories at venues. Like when you go with friends to see a band, and the band maybe like the vocalist has a bad night, you can talk about his voice cracking. You could talk
That's-
about, you know,
It's never the same thing twice.
That's a good story to build confidence for all the new bands that want to form. Right.
The singer forgot the words halfway through a song, had to hold the mic out, but they hadn't played that city before, so nobody in the crowd knew their song, and so they're just standing there.
After all these years of playing, like even before Derek and Anthony and I were playing together, Anthony and I were playing. We were getting out of high school and grammar school, and some of our greatest things that we ever caught on tape were some of the worst shows we ever played, because we look back at it and, you know, I'll drop a beat and we'll all just look at each other in confusion. I mean, these are memories you can only build in the music scene. You have to just go out there and experience it.
I guess I had another. That leads me to another question. When you're playing live, are you at that point? Are you still workshopping songs, or when you play the songs live, do you consider them pretty much complete? Like, could one of those mistakes maybe inform a change to the song for when it does get recorded?
Well, 90% complete.
Well, yeah, I mean, but we'll write a song and we'll have it one way, and then we start playing it live. We find we might tweak something for the sake of the live performance, not really deviating too far from the original, but we feel, hey, you know what? This translates a little better, you know, in that live setting, in that in-person setting, and people really react to this part, you know. So we'll accentuate this part, or kind of, you know, mellow out on this. And in that sense, that's where it gets a little organic, and things might change. But once it's written, the skeleton's there.
Yeah. Okay.
With meat on top of that.
Good. Well, thank you all again very much. Sorry for the couple of false starts or false ends there. And we're going to return back to the present now, because we're currently in the past. I think you were aware of that. But yeah, so back to the present. And thanks again. Set the charge.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, present. I'm Doug. Nice to see you. So that brings us pretty much to the end of our stream today. Want to thank all of our players. Want to thank Set the Charge for sitting down and talking to us. Want to thank the artists that allowed us to use their music in this week's song pack, the Social Star song pack. Tomorrow, normally, Rolling Stone 222 has had a bit of off time, and tomorrow will be no different. In the morning, around probably 10 a.m. Eastern time, which would be around 7 a.m. Pacific time, UB Jurassic will post an announcement about our next song, about our the DLC, about our next DLC that will be posted by UB Jurassic on our forums. So please go to rocksmith.com and click the link to go to our forums to see what's coming next week. There will not be a clue, but we hope you'll join us and see what we have to offer. We're excited about that, and we're excited to see what you say. So hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Facebook, we are just Rocksmith, and Instagram and Twitter, we are at Rocksmith Game. So check us out there. Check out our forums, and we're going to take one more look at the Social Stars song pack, and we will see you next week. Bye.